Yo, what's going on? I'm Marcus, the Debt Free Dad, where we do attorney reactions over here to current events, trending news, finance topics, sports. We kind of tap in on a little bit of everything. In this video, we're going to talk about a scam, but we're going to have to piece it up a little bit. We're going to talk about a new video where it's a scam we already talked about, but then we're going to take a look back and see how this scam actually turned deadly for an innocent person who was just trying to do their side hustle and ride for Uber. I always want to make sure y'all protected. I know some of my tribe out there have side hustles. I know some of my tribe out there has family members, so I don't want y'all falling for scams. And most importantly, I want y'all to be safe out here in these streets. If you get some value from this content, make sure you do me a favor. It's free. Share, subscribe, comment, like, hit the bell notification, get involved. And if you really want to get involved, become a member of the channel where you get early access to content, and you're essentially a producer of the show. Whatever ideas you have, you just hit your boy up, and if it meets our rigorous standards, we will definitely dive in and talk about it. Let's go ahead and jump into the video.
$1,000 is now out of my wife and my retirement savings. Gone.
He fell victim to an old scam with a very new twist. Crooks using artificial intelligence to rip people off. Welcome back. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Giovanna Lotta. You're watching Eyewitness News at 5, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. We often report on phone scams that con artists use to get at your money. Now they're taking advantage of AI to make their scams even more believable.
Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda explains how it works and what you can do to avoid becoming a victim in this 7 on Your Side investigation.
I look like a fool. I feel like a fool, but I don't care. I want to help everybody that I can possibly help.
Anthony, who doesn't want to give his last name, says that's how he feels after he was scammed out of $25,000. It all started when he got a phone call that he believed was from his son.
Dad, I had a horrible accident. I ran into a woman who was pregnant, carrying a child inside of her. She was rushed to the ICU.
He says after a short conversation, he hangs up and gets another call from someone who says his name is Michael Roberts and he's a lawyer. He then tells Anthony he needs $9,200 for his son's bail.
He said, you need to get $9,200.
Let's just finish watching, then we'll dive in.
$100 as fast as you can if you want your son out of jail. Otherwise, he's in for 45 days.
Anthony says he did try to call his son back to verify all of this, but the call went to voicemail, so he assumed it's because he really was in jail. So Anthony rushes to the bank to get the money. He says to avoid suspicion or any holdups, he tells the bank it's for a solar panel installation, and they approve it. He then gets home and asks his daughter to call the person identified as Michael Roberts.
And she says, we've got the money. What do we do now? He said, don't worry, someone will be at the house. It'll be an Uber car any minute. And with that, there's an Uber car.
This surveillance video shows as his daughter takes the money out in a manila envelope. They check the license plate and the driver to make sure it is a legitimate Uber driver. She hands over the money and the driver leaves. Then the phone rings again. This time, a different man who says his name is Mark Cohen and he's another attorney involved in the case. He says the pregnant woman died.
The bail has been raised. Mark Cohen says another $15,800 to $25,000.
So they repeat everything again, getting more money out of the bank and giving it to yet another Uber driver who picks up the second package. Anthony says as things calm down, they start searching the internet and doing research, and his daughter tells him the bad news.
And says, Dad, I hope I'm wrong. I think you have just been scammed out of $25,000. Never even crossed my mind.
Police say this type of scam is not new. Variations on it have been around for years, but they say now using new technology, those calls or notifications can appear more realistic.
All right, real quick. I mean, that's enough. And we talked about this scam before. I actually told you after, I don't know if you all recall, for people who been with the channel for a while, when I first saw this scam and we talked about it, I immediately called my parents because my parents, hey, shout out to them. They old as hell. They ain't old as hell, but they up there. They are senior citizens. And me, I make social media content. So my voice is out there for anyone to snatch up. And so if you have an older parent or older person that you care about, talk with them, let them know that if they get a call from someone claiming to be a family member that need money, they need to hang up immediately and call that family member back on the number that they have inside their home. The other thing that you can do is give your older family members, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, give them a password. If someone calls saying to be a family member, purporting that they have an emergency and they need money, y'all should have a password amongst yourselves or some trivia code you can give or hey, okay, well, where did we live? And there's something that wouldn't be general knowledge to a person, but would be known to your family member. And I think the other thing is just in looking at this scam, how this guy got finessed. And I want to give a big shout out to him because, hey, if DFD gets scammed, I'm probably not going to go on the news and telling everybody about it because I'm probably going to be a little bit embarrassed. I don't know. But it is embarrassing. Most people who get scammed and finessed, they don't want to tell people about it, especially us fellas. We like, oh, I can't let nobody know. I'm just going to eat that loss. But shout out to him for actually going on the news, showing his face, telling his story so people can become aware. But one of the most important thing is it is very, very rare that an attorney is going to need cash from you to actually bond a person out of custody. That's very, very rare. It does happen. Most times when it happens, when attorneys get cash to bond out a person, is when it's a client who has a lot of money and who has already paid a substantial retainer. Most times when people get, think about it, most times when people are incarcerated, they haven't even established an attorney yet. They don't have an attorney yet because they're just getting arrested. But I know this guy wasn't thinking. He heard his son's voice. He thought his son was in danger. But the only attorney who could potentially be involved at the onset of an arrest is someone for the prosecution. And they're never going to call and be like, yo, you need to send me this bread so we can bond this guy out. So I get it. It was a family member. This is an older guy. He was scrambling because he wanted to take care of his son. But there were some clues that you can find and identify that just would have gave you cause to pause. Now, let's loop this into another scheme. So remember the video we just saw. After they gave the scammy information, the guy went to get the after they gave the scammy information, the guy went to go get the money. I was stuttering and shit. The guy went to go get the money. Essentially, what happened is they sent an Uber to come by and pick up the money. Later on in that report, the Uber driver was a legit Uber driver. The scammer requested an Uber to go to that home. They had the driver pick up the envelope and drop it off somewhere. The Uber driver was not a part of the scam. The Uber driver was just doing what he was instructed to do from his rideshare app. Go to this location, pick up something, and go drop it off at this location. But let's take a look to see how this can become deadly. And a lot of people out there are doing ride shares, so you got to really pay attention. Let's dive into this next video.
About the epidemic of elderly people being scammed over the phone. Now it's turned deadly. An 81-year-old man ended up fatally shooting an Uber driver because he wrongly believed she was going to kill him.
Now, I hope that they don't show anything on there, but you can imply what's going on. Hopefully, YouTube don't get funky with this video.
But she was unarmed, and they both were victims of an
Terrible.
elaborate scam. Les Trent has more, and we warn you the video is upsetting.
This terrifying video shows an elderly man pointing a gun at an Uber driver. She had driven to his home to pick up a package. And she is backing away because he has just shot her in the leg.
This is an 81-year-old guy. I believe the woman is 61 years old. She's an Uber driver just trying to do her job. This 80-something-year-old gentleman was scammed, and now he believes that this woman is working with the scammers.
61-year-old Lolitha Hall cries out for help and frantically tries to explain why she's at his home.
Yeah, I know what you're after.
The deadly confrontation is caught on the Uber driver's dash cam and ends with the homeowner shooting her 2 more times.
I need the sheriff and the ambulance real quick out here. There's been a shooting. I shot her in the leg the first time, and I shot her in the shoulder.
William Brock tells 911 that he shot the Uber driver because he had just been threatened on the phone by a total stranger and thought they were working together.
Guy on the phone trying to get money out of me. He was telling me he was going to kill me and the family and everybody else around.
You can hear on the 911 call the wounded woman pleading for help.
Help me, please.
So why did the 81-year-old Brock believe the Uber driver was there to harm him? Investigators say it appears they were both victims of a scam.
Cops say the elderly man received a call from a scammer threatening his family and telling him that a relative had been arrested. The scammer ordered Brock to pay $12,000 or else. Cops say at the same time, an Uber driver, unaware of the circumstances, received instructions through the Uber app to pick up a package at Brock's home in South Charleston, Ohio.
Investigators say they tracked the scammer's call to Canada, but believe it came from a burner phone number. Adam Ghana is an attorney who represents elderly victims of fraud.
Elderly people are constantly getting defrauded in America today. You should be expecting to see more and more stories like this as the scams become more sophisticated.
Okay, and I talk about this all the time when I do scam reactions. Vulnerable adults, elderly people, people with cognitive and developmental disabilities, children, but seniors are always a target. This is a terrible thing. This is how a scam can have implications financially, but also impact a life or death situation. I didn't even look it up. You see, the old guy had his mug shot on there. Just giving my attorney reaction to what we see. That shooting is not legit. It's not going to be justified in 99.9% of jurisdictions. There has to be some fear of death or imminent bodily harm. That wasn't the case. And subsequently, when he actually does call 911, he talks about a threat that he received over the phone. So there's no immediacy of death or severe bodily harm. So yeah, he's going to get a criminal record at 81. I don't know how it played out. Y'all let me know in the comments. This other woman was wounded and she was just trying to do her job. So be careful out there. Scammers are trying to take your money and they're also trying to put you in harm's way unbeknownst to you, because you could just be doing your job, trying to get your side hustle, trying to get your money up. As always, if you enjoyed this content, check out what's on the screen. There's going to be more content related to attorney reactions.